Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey everybody, Austin Clark here. I am the host of the Multiply You podcast, where we interview top business leaders in their space, where they have just a tremendous amount of expertise. And today's guest, Cody Smith, is no exception. I'm very, very, very excited to be able to have him on and to introduce him and let you know a little bit more about his background and things that he kind of sees currently and that are on the horizon. I want to read our sponsorship message. This episode, as most of them are, is brought to you by Mesa Pest Control. One of my number one focuses right now is growth. Our company is growing, it's scaling. We're excited about that. It provides opportunities to a lot of individuals and families, specifically growth via acquisition. So we grow the same way that any company that you could think of out there might grow. We do it with online advertising. We do it with direct sales. We do it with mailers. We do it with other traditional forms of advertising. But we're looking to grow via acquisition as well. And so, just recently, it's not been so recently anymore, but I don't know, Cody, if you know Professional Exterminators and Randy Johnson. Does that ring a bell?
The name rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah. So I met him several months ago. We just did a deal with him maybe about a month or so, or 6 weeks or so ago. And I think that Randy is a really great representation of most of the pest industry, not just here in Arizona, but like across the nation. And he had been running this company for 30 years, 40 years, really good, respectable brand. Couple of trucks. I think he had 3 or 4 or 5 trucks on the road kind of deal. And that is, there's the big companies out there. There's the large regional companies out there. But most of the industry is that. And so we recently did a deal with Randy. He wasn't even interested, I guess you could say, initially, but he was getting up there and looking to retire. It's definitely semi-retirement for him. He was scared of the full-on, full retirement. He didn't know what he would do with his time. But if there's anyone out there that knows anyone that's looking to get out of the space, we would love to talk to them. They can reach me directly on my cell. They can call or text. It's 480-254-9730. Or they can email me directly at aclark@moxypestcontrol.com. If you go onto our website, it's a large national site, and submit a form. I'll never get it. It'll go to our national team. And so call me, text me, email me directly, and that would be appreciated. Today, we've got Cody Smith on the podcast, and Cody is Cody's incredible. He's dynamic. He also owns a pest firm here in town that's called Dynamic Pest Control. The little that I found online, been around for a long time. Also, respectable, and just has a lot of industry knowledge. The specific reason that I wanted Cody to come on and visit with a lot of us that are listening is to talk about industry associations. And so not only does Cody own a couple of different businesses or is involved in a couple of different businesses, but he is also the president of the AzPPO, which is the industry association for pest control in Arizona. And I mean, just earlier, Cody, we were talking about these resources that are out there available to. It doesn't matter if you're looking to start a business, if you've started a business and you're stuck. There's a lot of either free or low cost types associations out there that people can get involved in to educate them or have them maybe learn mistakes that they don't really necessarily need to go through because someone else has done that. And so I'm excited for the conversation. Cody, thanks for coming on. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Good to be here. Thank you so much. Doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, glad to hear about that. Well, if you don't mind, maybe we start out. Give us a little bit of background on you. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about dynamic. There's another business that you mentioned, and that I want to bring up in a couple of questions down the road. But what's a little bit of the Cody Smith story?
All right. So I don't know how much detail you want, but I guess I would say born and raised in Arizona, and I'm a second generation pest control owner. My dad actually, for most, actually all of my life, he owned kind of a small one-man show, and was just your typical technician who loved being with customers and just spent a lot of time out with his customers. And so at age about 11 or 12, I remember knocking doors for him, selling exterior services for like $9.99 and stuff like that. But so I was around it growing up. I served a mission for my church, and then came back and went to college and didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I knew I wanted the freedoms, I guess, that my dad had, in the sense of he was always at all of our ball games. He coached a lot of our teams. I played all sports in high school and then football in college, and he was always there. And so I just wanted that freedom to be able to be with my family. And so when I came back from college, I saw that a one-man show that he was running wasn't going to be big enough for the both of us. And so I just kind of probably followed suit from kind of your guys's model and started knocking doors on my own just to build up a route. And so I started doing that, and I actually ran into a guy who was selling a business. And so I bought that small business from him, and I went to my dad and said, hey, why don't we merge resources here, merge this company together, and then grow together. And so that's kind of what we did. And I just told him, when you're ready to retire, I'll buy you out, and we'll kind of move forward that way. And so that's kind of what I did. And really our growth on a much probably smaller scale like yours is just been through small acquisitions, a small quarter of a route here, a half a route there. And so that's kind of how we've grown, is through that acquisitions. But it's been great. Never thought I would be necessarily a bug man, and didn't want to be a bug man growing up as a kid. But I love the people. I love the customers. And so it's been great.
No, that's great. And what do they say about the pest industry? No one goes to find the pest industry; it finds you.
Exactly.
And I didn't realize that you were in Arizona and born and raised. I knew I liked you. Me too. And you bring up a couple of interesting things too. You talk about the pest industry, and some of the acquisitions or deals that you were building up the route, knocking doors, getting a customer here, there, and ran into someone that, there was an opportunity, right? And in my relatively limited experience in doing some of these deals too, it's like, well, what are the options? For example, for someone like your father, or maybe someone like the gentleman that you ran into years ago. And there's a couple, but you either pass it down, kind of like what was done with you and your father. You lock it up, throw the keys in the road, and just kind of. And I'm shocked at how often that is done. They just say, I got a couple of employees, or it's a one-man thing, and lived a good life, got a little bit of saving, and we're done. Sometimes they send a notice out to the customer, sometimes they don't.
Right.
But I can't tell you, and you could probably vouch for this too, just how many times you talk to people that just say, yeah, and Bob just stopped coming 6 months ago, or a year ago, or whatever. And so I think it happens more often than not. And then most of the smaller guys like us, there's a couple of 800-pound gorillas in the pest space, and we would rather drop dead than sell our companies to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's just kind of, I guess you could pass it or sell it to employees if you wanted to ruin their lives and yours at the same time. But that kind of brings up a question that I hadn't anticipated talking about, but I'm sure you're not the only person that's been in that situation with either family, or in this case, your father. Are you able to talk a little bit about that? Was that a good thing for you? Good thing for your father? Was that a smooth transition? Do you not recommend that family ever works together? What do you think?
So I think our situation was probably a little different than most. So I always tell people we had a great family business because of the way it was set up. Because I came in kind of with another business, we came in kind of as equals, and he didn't have a business for me to just step into and already gain, set up a salary or anything. I kind of had to go hunt for it and build up something for myself. And so he loved doing the technical work and loved being with customers, and I wanted to manage a business. And so fairly early on, when we could, I stopped servicing and started running and managing the business. And so he got to do what he loved to do, which was come in, get his route, and go spray. And I got to do what I loved doing, which was managing this business and growing it. And so I always say it was the best of both worlds, because I got to see my dad every day, but I didn't have to make a lot of decisions with him as far as the overall, growth of the business. And so we didn't have, there was definitely those times where I was doing something that he didn't like, and we had the knockdown dragouts about it and everything, and that most families do. And I think just in general, family dynamics with wife and parents knowing how much you make and everything like that, I think that all causes all kinds of, issues as far as in-laws and stuff like that. But overall, we had a pretty unique situation that was really good, and I got to glean from his experience, from his knowledge. But at the same time, like I said, he did what he loved. I got to do what I loved, and we didn't have to make a ton of decisions together. So really, it worked out really well. And obviously, I think it depends on your relationship with your family members in business. But ours. It's funny, we shared an office at one point with a guy, and one time he said, I don't know how you guys do it, but he said, I'll walk by your office and you'll be having a knockdown drag out fight. And he said, I'll come in 20 minutes later and you guys will be talking about the Suns game. And he said, it's just crazy how you just let it go so quickly and you're back to normal father-son relationship. And that's really how it was. And I would probably, attribute that to my dad and just the way he was, that he didn't hold grudges. And so it was just one of those things where you speak your mind, you speak what you need to, and then you put it aside and move on, and it doesn't affect, your relationship. So it's pretty good.
No, that's incredible. That I would, I don't know, but I would guess that that's probably not normal, right? That type of pass of a business and sort of thing. And, I also thought it was neat too, that it wasn't like something given to you or sold to you at a discount to take care of Junior. You came, right, with something to the table, and what a great relationship where you like to grow, vision, manage, and your dad likes to do more of the technical work, be in the field, troubleshoot very specific problems, take care, of customers, and sounds like an awesome relationship. So,
yeah,
very good. Well, Cody, what are we'll get to the AzPPO in just a second, but as far as the industry goes, what is going on? What are some of the things that you see? Does the pest industry have a bright lookout here locally in Arizona and nationally? Should we all be selling our businesses and go do something else? What are some of your thoughts on the industry?
I don't have a crystal ball, but gosh, more and more people are moving to Arizona. It's a great place to live, great place to raise a family. And, currently building is skyrocketing, and you would start to worry that, hey, is the market going to crash here? And it may over time in the US as a whole, but at the rate at which people are moving here, I don't see anytime soon there being a major problem. And every home that's built, they've got to have some kind of a pest control service. And so, with what are there, 1,300 pest control companies here in the Valley,
Registered, and probably that many
registered.
more
Yes,
unregistered. You know what I mean?
exactly. And so, I mean, there's a lot of competition out there, but at the same time, I'm always of the opinion, listen, there's plenty for everyone out there. And so, I see, a bright future in the pest control industry. And I think the key to that is building the industry up so that we have good owners and good people running these businesses to a high standard, so that sometimes pest control kind of gets a bad rap out there. Some dirty guy that's just full of chemicals and everything else, and maybe rightfully so in the past at some point, but I rub shoulders with a lot of pest control owners who are just good guys who know their field, and they know what's going on, and they have some great experience as far as what they're doing, and they're safely applying products and protecting homes, and protecting people from a lot of disease and everything else that can come with insects and that. And so like I said, I think I see a bright future for the pest control industry overall in Arizona, I think throughout the US, but especially here in Arizona, with the growth that's happening.
Yeah, well, that's great to know. And yeah, you touched on a couple of really key things, right? I mean, 1,300 registered companies just in Arizona. That's a lot. There's enough for everybody in any industry, right? Anyone who wants to get out there, sweat, grind, make it happen, get it done. Your customers will appreciate that. They all want a good service, a good finished good for a good price. And if you're doing that and you're consistent, I mean, they're going to keep coming back, right?
Right.
I mean, 7.2 million people that live in Arizona. I don't know how many households, if you will, are there, but there's a lot. And that's just residential. There's a lot of pest control companies that focus on commercial, industrial. I mean, just termites, or just, you know what I mean? And so there are just, it's just exciting. There's a lot of market out there for anyone that wants to go and get it. And as far as like being well insulated, I mean, the bugs don't know when there's a recession, right? They just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And so, they just never stop ever. I think that's a nice way and a nice segue into the AzPPO. I was telling you earlier, Boxy Pest Control of Arizona has been around since 2011. And like anyone that started any business, you just work 100 hours a day. And that was no exception for me. It's still happening, but just in a different way now. But one of the regrets, I guess you could say, I have is not earlier on making more connections or friends in the industry, because like you said, as you've been really smart about doing that, you meet a lot of really great people, right? Sure. And so we've just recently, at least here locally, started to reach out to do that, to make more friends, to make more associations. And one of the ways that we decided we wanted to do that was to be able to get more involved in the AzPPO, of which you're the president of. But I actually, we have a couple of people from the organization that will go to that. I actually almost know nothing about it. And so I think a good person to talk to. I mean, tell us what the organization is, what's the purpose, how is it a good thing? Does that have a good outlook? How can people get involved? Let us know more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So the Arizona Pest Professionals Organization is the AzPPO, and it is what you said. It's an industry association for pest control in Arizona, and the organization as a whole, we continue to try to have a voice in the industry. In our industry, in pest control, we are regulated by the Pest Management Division, which is under the Department of Agriculture for the state. And so, to be honest, I'll tell you, my view has changed completely about associations. Growing up in this industry, my dad had kind of that old school mentality of stay away from any regulation because they're just going to fine you. They're going to pick something you're not
Government
doing
is
it right.
bad. Government is
Yeah,
bad. Yeah.
exactly. And so they're just going to fine you. Stay away from them. They're going to try to find something that's going wrong. And so my mentality was that way. I grew up with that, being told to me, and so I stayed away and never got involved. And um, at one point, I went to a conference. I'm one of those. I like to go to conferences. I like to learn. I like to see what's going on out there. And so I went to one of the conferences that AzPPO puts on, and it's a large conference. They bring in speakers from all over the U.S. And
is that, Cody, the National Pest Management Association? Are you talking about the national one, or is it
no,
something
this
different?
is actually, it's called the Great Western Conference.
Okay, yeah.
And we do it here locally here in Arizona, and we invite, Utah and Nevada and New Mexico, Colorado. We invite them to come in. Some from California come in, and it's a good conference. And anyway, I went to it just for your continuing education hours that we have to get. And so I went to it and I rubbed some shoulders with a couple different guys, and they said, "Hey, are you involved in the association at all?" And I said, "No." I said, "I stay clear from them. I don't." And they said, "You should really get involved. They do a lot of work on our behalf." And I was like, interesting. And the more I rubbed shoulders with these guys, the more I realized, like, this is a great thing to get involved in. And so, I stepped in and said, "Hey, what can I do to get involved?" And so, I joined as a member. I went to a few of their meetings and started to understand really what an association does. And as an association, the AzPPO works really well with Pest Management Division. And we've created a great friendship there to where they reach out to us a lot for help and understanding of some of the rules and regulations that we have, some of the changes that maybe need to be enforced as we move forward. And really, I found out that the Pest Management Division that regulates us, they're there to help. They're there to be a partner with us. And so all of a sudden, I went from feeling like they're the enemy and I need to stay away from them to, holy cow, these guys are great people who want to help us. And the association spends a lot of time legislatively helping fight and combat our ability to do what we do best, which is control, the insect populations. And so whether it's lobbying for a certain product that's or chemical that's in a product that we use and making sure that it's safe and that we can use it. There's all kinds of things that are going on constantly. There was a surplus of money at one point in the state, and it was money designated to the Pest Management Division. And at one point, the governor wanted to come in and sweep that money and take it somewhere else to be used somewhere else. And our lobbyists, really fought hard to make sure that money stayed. It was all of our dues that we were paying annually for, our registration and CEUs and everything like that. That money had built up, and they wanted to come in and sweep it and take it away. And we spent a lot of time and money fighting for that, to say, hey, that's the industry's money, and it shouldn't go somewhere else. It should stay with the industry. And so we fought really hard to keep that. And so they were unable to sweep it, and we were able to discount our registration fees and all fees for a set period of time to use some of that money and to give back to the industry. And so, there's stuff going on all the time like that you realize, wow, this association is really helping, others out and creating, opportunities for the industry to flourish. Yeah.
Well, you said a lot of, I think, important things. You brought up the PMD, or the Pest Management Division, like you said, which is inside of the Department of Agriculture. And I regrettably had a lot of the same feelings, or was given a lot of the same advice that you would stay away. You're better off with them not knowing that you exist, sort of thing. And I've only been here 10 years, and I understand that maybe there was a rough patch before that from what I've heard, but I didn't experience any of that firsthand, and I've been so impressed with we're reaching out often because we're petrified of doing things wrong or mostly unsafe or illegal, right?
Right.
We don't want to do that, but we have reached out down there a lot to Vince Craig, a lot to Robert Tolton. We will regularly ask if they will have an inspector come to our office to do an office audit, if you will. At the same time, we'll usually have our cage to store chemicals or a vehicle prepared. There's like 100,000 things that have got to be done to make sure that it's safe. And sometimes I think they get tired of us reaching out to make sure that we're good, but you want to make sure the I's are dotted and T's are safe, and or T's are crossed, and that people are safe.
And most companies don't know that that's available to them, that you can call down there and they will do those things for free. They're not charging you to come in and make sure you're safe. And that's what that most people think, oh, if I call them, they're going to come in and they're going to find me because all these things are wrong. They're going to help you be compliant. And then if you don't stay compliant, obviously they're going to step in and say, hey, you're ignoring the things that we've said. But they're going to help you, set everything up so that you're, compliant and that you're being safe and doing the right thing.
And that has been my experience with the pest management division exactly, is that, sometimes the I's aren't dotted and T's aren't crossed, or a form will be wrong or whatever. And they'll kind of they've given us a fix-it ticket, sort of, hey, this is wrong. We'd like to provide a sheet and 30 days or so to be able to correct that. When you do, let us know, sort of thing. And they've got limited resources. It's not like it's not like it's a 500 person division. And so I think that they do the very best they can with the resources that they have to be of service to the industry. But they're always putting on classes and CEUs and industry announcements and that kind of thing. And so I'm really glad to be able to hear you say that. And similarly, right, with the AzPPO, I mean,
Right.
I know that of great concern to some pest operators here in Arizona, there's some things that are happening in California or with rodenticides. Before that, it was with very effective termiticide that they're saying, hey, this active ingredient, nope. And so it's like, what do we do? Sort of thing. And so I think that it's that type of action and lobbying or legislation or kind of fights, if you will, that the AzPPO is involved in. And, I just hopped on the site here quickly, and, there are, it's not like there's slouches, right? I mean, you're the president, Cody. I met Darren Hunsaker a little while back, who's the vice president. Stu Keenan of Keiko Pest Prevention. I've never met him, but I know that company's been around for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I met Fred Wiley just last week for the first time of Invader. Oh my gosh, super nice guy. Super nice guy. Just really, and then past presidents or whatever else. I mean, there's some Curtis Whalen, Blue Sky Pest Control, very large, respected, type company. I don't know who Jeff Keller is at Arizona Exterminating, but just a lot of really stand up, right? Kind of people that you want, I guess, representing the industry in that way.
And that's what's so great is so, we've talked about legislatively. So one, area of AzPPO is that we pay a lobbyist. On the dues and things that we get goes to paying a lobbyist to fight for our rights as pest control operators in the Arizona market. And so we're fighting every day for certain things to make sure that we can do what we do and we can make a living doing that. And so that's just one piece of kind of the association puzzle. And so that piece alone, most people would say, hey, become a member of an association because they're fighting for you so that you can do what you do. And that's usually kind of left alone. Like, that's it, right? With our association, there's so many other things going on. But one of the key things I would say is rubbing shoulders with other pest control owners. Because you get into these meetings and if you get on a committee or whatever, you're rubbing shoulders with guys who want to help you and want to share their expertise. And so you've got, huge companies to one-man shows, and they all have experience and knowledge and understanding in the field. And so, it's just one of those things where I love going to the meetings, because what we call the parking lot talk after is information that you can't get out there. And so it's so great to be able to rub shoulders with these guys, because you become kind of good friends and spend time together, and all of a sudden they're saying, oh, hey, what are you struggling with, and let me help you do this, or, oh, hey, I've got this. I mean, never in my life did I ever think that if I was short or down a truck for a day, you just kind of have to figure it out yourself. But I promise you, there's probably 10 guys that I could call if I was down a truck, that have an extra truck or whatnot, that would say, hey, come get my truck, throw a sign on it, and use it however you need until your truck is back on, on the road and going. And that's huge, to be able to call somebody and have them extend whatever is needed. Those are the kind of things that you get as you're involved in association, is rubbing shoulders with guys. I'll be honest, my business grew by probably about 30% from the time I got in, and got in on as an at-large member, and have gone through the process the last 4 years of now becoming president. And it's just because I have rubbed shoulders with guys and asked certain questions about, hey, how did you grow, or how'd you do this? And they've, oh, hey, you should do this. And those little things, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I never even thought of that. That's so smart. That's saving me so much more money here, or saving me time here. And those are the things that, the membership dues, are a drop in the bucket to the information that you're going to get from the association. Then you throw on top of that the CEUs, the conferences, the speakers that you can get nationally, the masterminds that we do once a month, where we bring guys in, all obviously competitors, but all open to helping each other out. And so you come with a question, you get 5 minutes or so, and we go around and everyone uses their experience and the things that they've seen or done to answer those challenges or questions. And so we go around the room and everyone gets an opportunity to do that. Just a lot of things that the association can help with. And people just don't always see it, or don't think it's there.
Yeah, incredible. So, I mean, obviously you can endorse it. It's been a game. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? From joining to today, 30%. I mean, that sounds really, really good, right? There's people that are listening, and not just in the pest space, but other spaces, right, that also have these associations. What is the best way for them to get involved in the association? If I want more, do they go to the website? Is there a phone number? And then, you talked a little bit about that process, which I'm sure is very, very different, but I'd love to learn a little bit, because someone didn't, the past president didn't call you last year and say, Cody, you're up. You know what I mean? I mean, that is many, many, many year kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So, I think first and foremost, you want to join your membership. You want to join your association, reach out, find out, Google, associations in your industry, whatever industry you're in. You want to go to their website and find out, what they're doing, and join. Once you join, and it's usually a minimal fee, not going to be anything that's going to break the bank. You want to reach out to your board members and find out, hey, how can I get more involved? There are multiple committees. We have a marketing committee, we have a conference committee, we have an education committee, the masterminds. We have a legislative committee, and so there's all these committees, and you could try them out. you might be more some things, legislative, that you really enjoy, that the lobbying and that kind of a thing, and you want to talk to your state, officials. Great, jump on that committee and you can be involved in that. You might enjoy events and running events and helping with events and things like that. And so you might want to get on the conference committee or the education committee, because we're doing different educational events and things like that. And so there's so many avenues that you can get involved in. And I would say jump on a committee and find out, what you like. Go to the meetings. Typically it's a monthly meeting. You can go and anyone's invited. It's a public, meeting that you can join and be a part of. And then from there, it goes into, you can be elected to the board. You can kind of move the ranks of the board, as far as, starting as a secretary and treasurer and vice president, president. They have president-elect or past president and everything. And so there's lots of different ways that you can get involved. And it's not something that they're just going to suck your time. You think, oh my gosh, I'm a busy, business owner. And it is time consuming. Everything is, right. You put your time into the things that matter most to you. And I think as one would get involved in their association, they would realize how much good they're doing, and the opportunity to do that as well. It's been wonderful for me.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I say, there's so many other things that come. One of the great, benefits to our membership is that you have a joint membership, state and nationally. And so the National Pest Management Association, when you join with us, you join as a joint member. And so you get all the benefits that they offer as well on the national side. So there's big conferences that they do. One of the things lately, has been big for us is, the vehicle discounts that you can get by being a member. There's some vehicle discounts there that you can go in, and by just being a member, all of a sudden you get some pretty huge discounts coming off of some of the vehicles. And for us pest control guys, our vehicles are on the road all the time. And so to be able to go in and buy a new vehicle and have, the amount of discounts that you get, I mean, that alone pays for itself multiple times over.
Well, downtime is just unacceptable, right? You've got customers to serve, and when they've got a scorpion or whatever issue, when we get our truck back from the shop, that doesn't go over very well. I've tried
Sure.
that, and that didn't work too well.
Exactly.
The thing that you said, well, you said a lot of things, but I think you said something really, really important, because I didn't realize that there were all of these committees as well. And so, maybe people don't have either the capacity or the availability to be the president, right? Like
Right.
you are. But like you said, hop onto a committee.
Yeah.
I mean, there is plenty of work to go around. And if you want to give 5 minutes of your time a month, or 50 hours of your, I'm sure that those opportunities are available, right?
For sure.
And I like too that Dual. I kind of hopped on to the National Pest Management Association. I probably knew at one point, but I didn't. I've never been. I'm guilty. I need to. I should, but I didn't.
Shame on you.
Yeah, no, really, exactly. I didn't realize there was kind of like a reciprocity or a dual membership, and so not only when I'll bet probably a lot of states are that way,
Yeah.
or maybe Arizona's worked out something specific so that it would be that way. But you want to take this to a national scale. The same sort of thing. Scott Steckel is the president at Plunkett's Pest Control for the National Pest Management Association, and I don't really know any of these people, but it's a big, long list, and it looks like a lot of them have been in the industry for a long time. And so,
Yeah.
Think about like the collective brain power that's there, right?
For sure. And the legislative ability that they're doing at the national level. Last year I went back to Washington, D.C., and, prior to COVID, we were back there, and we spent, 3 days there meeting with, legislative, members there, and talking about different, topics that affect the pest control industry nationwide. And so, those are opportunities that you get to be involved in that, and, sit down with Congress and some of these people and talk to them about some of the issues and some of the things, like I say, that that we do that most people take for granted that we're just doing on a regular basis, but you don't know that there's someone in Washington, D.C. fighting for you to be able to use the products that you're using or whatever it is in whatever association. And so it's pretty cool to think, on a big scale, what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh, it's amazing. And so you've given us just like a tremendous amount of information when it comes to the AzPPO and how people can get involved and where to go, that sort of thing. And what an education and difference it's made to your bottom line and top line personally, right? What other things, as we kind of pivot away from that, what other, and it doesn't have to be pest specific, but for you, Cody, and you're involved in a couple of businesses, but who has been instrumental to you? What kind of books do you have a business Bible? Are there, you said earlier that you like going to like seminar type things. I would imagine that's probably not just for the pest space. It might be business in general, but what have been some other things along your way and your path that have been powerful or valuable, or man, I wish I would have read this 10 years ago, or, that sort of thing?
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, I think before we started, that E-Myth, the book E-Myth, that was kind of where I probably cut my teeth into the business world and understood maybe a little bit more about running a business and that kind of a thing. And so I think that at a young age kind of spurred me into enjoying the management of business and all the things going on. Scaling Up, I don't know if you're familiar with Vern Harnish, but that is a book that I've really enjoyed. And, there's a group here in Arizona, it's actually worldwide, called Entrepreneurial Organization, EO. And I was a part of that for, probably 3 years, and saw just locally here, all these entrepreneurs that wanted to, grow their businesses. And a lot of the things that they have there is through the Scaling Up. That's kind of the basis of their, growth in that. And so those are the things I think that have kind of pushed me to be, more involved as far as, learning more, trying to grow my business and things like that. I'll be honest, I'm not a big reader. I don't really like to read. But I have found that, if I can get in a good self-help or business book, that's where, I enjoy reading or listening to, the audibles on it and stuff like that. So those are the things that probably have pushed me to kind of keep learning and growing.
And, you mentioned your father earlier, and I would imagine that, taught you everything that you know, right?
Right.
But, whether it's inside or outside, have there been people along the way that have been instrumental in maybe shaping the way you think or do things, or, that sort of thing?
I would say, there have been a lot of just, friends, people that were leaders to me growing up in my younger years that I watched in their businesses. I think the entrepreneurial mindset, watching some of those people, like I said, with my dad, the freedoms that he had, that was something that I wanted, and I was willing to work hard to create that, so that I can now, having kids in sports, different things, I can, have that freedom to break away and go see a game or help with a practice or coach their team. Those are the things that I love. And so, whatever I did, the end goal was to, create something that I don't necessarily have to be there always, and that I can break away and do the things that I really love, which are being with my family and spending that time and doing those kinds of things.
Amazing. No, thank you for sharing that. Earlier you shared another business that you're involved in. I'd love to learn just a little bit more about that. It's a promotional business, and you do consulting and just help, whether it's other businesses or spaces, to kind of figure out who they are, what they are, or what they want to do, right? Share a little bit about the promotional business, Cody.
Yeah. So a few years back, our pest control business was at a place where, I think it started, you can get it to a point where it kind of runs itself. Systems are in place and things are there to where you don't have to be there or be on it all the time. So I had a lot of free time at the time, and a friend of mine, we had always talked about doing something together. And so I think this promotional business that we started was something that, I think the both of us looked at who we are and maybe the connections that we had and thought, this could be a good thing. And so we started it up, and more or less it's promotional, anything a business needs or wants to put their name on. And so whether it's a hat, whether it's a shirt, excuse me, whether it's a pen, anything that you would, market with, we can put your name on it, and we do that. And so it's been a good, fun business to be involved in. I enjoy connecting with other business owners and things. And so it was a great thing. The consulting thing kind of, I would say, was more of just a freak thing that kind of happened. I had a company reach out that I guess I would say, one of those moments where I felt like, oh, wow, like they reached out to me and just said, hey, we know who you are, obviously, and we think your personality and what you do, you'd be a great at this. And we're looking in our company to build a better culture to help our employees dream again. They've forgotten how to dream, and they're just living day to day, paycheck to paycheck. And so I went to a 3-day course where I became a certified dream manager, is what they call it. And it's an opportunity where I consult with their executive team, and now they're bringing in all their employees. But it's a program where we help people dream. I know it sounds kind of funny or fishy, but it's a situation where, a lot of these people, like I said, they live day to day, and they don't know, what they really want in life. And so I help them kind of dig deep and figure some of those things out. And at the same time, I help them understand their life, some of the financial pieces in that, as well as it's based on 4 key principles. And the 4 pillars, I guess you would say, are physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And so we work on those 4 pillars. And it's amazing how we watch, these employees, set goals, create some dreams, and then work towards, accomplishing them. So it's been really cool and really something that I enjoy doing, and obviously you're helping other people.
Well, and you want to talk about something too, Cody, that is missing in probably any industry, any space, any company. It is that I'm astounded, not just in the workplace or outside of, but the total lack of understanding of what someone wants, right? And I think people get in these ruts, and maybe it's paycheck to paycheck, or maybe it's just a professional slump or whatever else. And people have put such little thought into what they want. And if you don't know, one of my favorite quotes of all time is the Cheshire Cat and Alice in Wonderland. But Alice, everyone knows the story. She comes to a fork in the road, and the Cheshire Cat is there, and she asks, which path should I take? And the Cheshire Cat cleverly asks, well, where is it you want to go? And she says, well, I don't really know. And he says, then it doesn't really matter what path you take. And so knowing where you want to go in a month, a quarter, a year, 10 years will help you to make decisions today about how to get there, right?
And you would be surprised at how many people absolutely don't know.
Yep.
And as I talk with them, as we work through things, some of them come to tears in realizing that they don't know what they want. And so it's really cool to watch that maturation where they go through that process of really understanding, okay, this is what I want. And now I've got a pathway to get there. And you're able to help them do that. And whether that's in the company or somewhere else, that's what's so wonderful is, these companies, they want to help their employees in whatever way that is, and they want to be successful. And so as you look at how that's happening, you see some great results from companies that, their turnover goes way down because people want to be there because now you've invested in them, right? And they see that you've invested in them. And so the employees are more loyal because they're like, holy cow, this company wants me to be the best version of myself. And they're willing to, have a consultant come in and help me get there. And so it creates, a tremendous amount of loyalty and low turnover and being able to promote within. And so just a wonderful thing for businesses out there. And so it's something that I have enjoyed. It's been really cool to see and watch as we go through this program.
Incredible. Yeah. How rewarding too for you to see that change, right? Cody, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much for your thoughts. As we round this out, any other final comments or things that you'd like to share or say?
Just, in the service industry, we're all guys, we're all grinders, right? We've all gotten out there and had to grind. And I would say, just don't give up to any of you out there that are, that get into the day-to-day grind of the service industry. Love your customers and, don't give up. And I think you'll be successful.
Incredible. Yeah. Thank you. Cody Smith, everybody, owner of Dynamic Pest Control, president of the AzPPO, just has some really neat things happening with him. Cody, what's the best way if people need to connect with you or reach out to you? Do they call you? Do they email you? Do they find you on LinkedIn? Do you got a Twitter handle? How do they find you?
Probably the best way you can reach out to me. My cell phone's 480-332-5999. Shoot me a text or email me at cody@dynamicpestcontrol.com. Those are the two best ways to get a hold of me.
Very good. Cody, thanks again. Very gracious with your time. Thanks for carving a little bit of it out to spend with me and everyone that's listening and that will see this. I certainly have some notes that I've taken, and I've got some work to do. I'm going to start applying it right away. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.